Welcome back to Talk Healing to Me, the podcast where we go beyond the protocols and into the real stories, the ones that heal us, hold us, and sometimes completely change the way we see the world. And today's guest is someone who has done exactly that for me. Sarah Griffiths, aka Wheelie Mama, is mum of 3, soon to be 4, an author, a speaker, a powerhouse advocate for disability inclusion, and one of the most grounded, gracious women I have ever had the pleasure of working with. She was born with cerebral palsy, she uses a wheelchair, and she has taught me and so many others that mobility changes are not the end of a full life. In fact, she has flipped the script. When I was diagnosed with MS, like a lot of women, honestly, my biggest fear was ending up in a wheelchair. But Sarah, she showed me that a wheelchair isn't the thing to fear, it's the assumptions that we attach to it. Sarah has an MBE for her work, a children's book under her belt, a thriving family, and a huge impact in the work that we do at MS to Success. Because not only has she been a client in the past, she is our executive assistant and keeps this whole ship afloat. So buckle in, because this conversation will change the way you think about healing, wholeness, and what a successful life really means. Sarah Griffiths, you're so welcome. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor. Views shared are personal and not a substitute for professional guidance.
Thank you so much for having me. And whoa, what an introduction. It's a hard act to follow, that one.
Oh, when I was writing it, I started getting all teary, thinking about the first time that we had met in
Yeah.
Fermanagh all of those years ago at Hope Healing. It's changed names a couple of times, but Dr. Aideen McGinley asking us to both speak at it.
Yeah, that was one of my first professional speaking engagements as well. So it was, quite a big day, and we didn't even realise back then how big it was.
No, I know. I just got this random phone call from a lovely lady, and her name is escaping me at the moment, and asking me to speak. And then we went to say that again?
Maureen, was it
Maureen, thank you.
Yeah.
Maureen, she's fabulous.
Mhm.
And then there was a dinner the night before the event for us all to meet, and I was sat opposite you and your lovely husband, Danny, and sure, we've been great pals ever since, and all of the rest that's in between.
It's so funny, actually. I was chatting to, obviously, before I came to join the team, I was speaking to Danny, and he said to me quite recently, he said that he knew that night that, it was going to be big for us.
Oh, Sarah, that makes me really teary, because both of us were really only starting on our journey then. I
Yeah.
had only just gotten the news of MS being reversed. That was your first professional gig. So we were both sitting there like new little chicks.
Yeah,
Um,
fledgling chicks, yeah. Yeah.
wondering how to navigate and wanting to help people with our stories. And here we are now.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell people, for people that are getting to know you, who is Wheelie Mama? And how did that name and identity come about?
Okay, so that the second question's easier. So as you said, one of my biggest things was embracing my identity as a wheelchair user, because I didn't always do that. In fact, when I was born and diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and then the thing that comes with a medical diagnosis, they keep telling you what you won't be able to do, what that means for you, and all the limitations that's going to place on your life. And I was born with this defiant spirit from day one. My parents were told I wouldn't live, and somehow as a baby, I knew that that wasn't going to be my story. And I fought against it and fought tooth and nail for everything, and was determined that I wasn't going to be the medical norm. I wasn't going to live to medical expectations. I was going to exceed and surpass and kind of blaze my own trail in a way. So yeah, it was cool in a way, because it got me everything that I wanted in life. I went to mainstream education. I, passed my driving test, went to university, graduated from uni, passed my driving test, bought a car, did all those cool things that you're supposed to do as an adult. And but then underneath it all, I had this really, really chronic pain, because I was fighting my body. I was I was at war with my body the whole time. Wasn't accepting who I was and what was going on really underneath. and I was chronically depressed and in 24/7 pain. And it got to the point where my back pain was so bad that I was being faced with surgery that would be really debilitating. It would really reduce the amount of movement that I had. And yeah, it would have just changed the course of my life. And the pain was getting so bad that I was going to bed at night and hoping that I wouldn't wake up the next morning.
Oh,
Like, it was
Sarah.
really, really, really bad. And so like it got to literally, and I wasn't the person for meditation, or in fact I couldn't even bear silence. I had to have the TV on the stereo on because I didn't want to be alone with my thoughts, or I was just an angry person fighting against the world. And on the surface it looked like I was living my best life. It got to a point where I was like, look, I don't know what it was. I don't know what you would call it, whether it's like divine intervention, I don't know what you want to call it, but there was something that was like a whisper inside me going, there's got to be something else. There's got to be another way. There's got to be an alternative to this surgery. I know. And I was like, I just opened myself wide up and said, okay, if there is, show me what it is. And that was kind of the start of what I call my conversations with the universe. And it was really my discover. And then I discovered people like Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, all these incredible people. And they literally just, I was Googling and they all just came, came in my path. And yeah, that was the beginning of it all. And I started meditating and I started just listening to my body and saying, okay, so getting curious with the pain. What is my body trying to tell me? What have I been ignoring and denying all this time?
Mhm.
And within, I started doing that probably for about 3 months. And I realized after about 6 months that I had actually, not only was I in a lot less pain, but I hadn't been taking my pain meds for a good period of time. And I was like, wow. So then I didn't need the surgery. And my life has been on an upward trajectory ever since.
Wow, Sarah. Talk
Mm,
about taking things into your own hands. Like what I really hear is that you, and we talk about this in the program, as you know, as well, but what I really hear is there was some form of acceptance of where you were
yes.
at.
Hmm.
And I think
Hmm.
that is a lot. You mentioned, it looked like I was living my best life out there, and underneath it all, you were paddling like
Yeah.
Billy-O.
Yes.
And I think, and I can definitely relate to that, but not exactly the same things, but you're trying to keep the facade of I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine because you don't want sympathy or you don't want pity or you don't want people to treat
Yeah.
you differently. But then underneath it all, you're struggling, whether that's mentally, physically, or emotionally. Mine was mental and emotional for the majority of it, more so than physical. But that's a whole other ball game
It
when you're
is. Yeah.
dealing with pain like that, Sarah.
Yeah.
Gee, like
And
unreal.
self medicating as well with like alcohol, and I was a mess. Looking back now, I was a mess, but back then I thought I was being this defiant warrior, who was just doing my own thing, but it was horrible.
Yeah.
And you asked, where does the wheelie mama thing come from? So when I started to embrace who I really was and really be kind to my body and listen to my body, accept that, okay, because for me as well, the wheelchair that was me in my head as a teenager and 20-year-old. That was me giving up on life. That was the end of my life. But then I really started listening to my body and really respect what my body needed, which was sometimes I was good to walk, sometimes I needed to use my chair, and I needed to give it that flexibility and that respect of giving it what it needed. So that's why Wheelie Mama is part of my brand, because when I really embraced that and accepted that and lived with that and saw the chair not as the end of my life, but as a vehicle and a catalyst for the rest of my life to allow me to live the life that I deserve to have. And that's the one thing. I realized I deserve to have a good life. I deserve to be pain free and I deserve to live life to the best of my ability. And I think that for people living with chronic illness and disability and stuff, there is that thing of I'm just born to suffer. But nobody is born to suffer. Everybody deserves an incredible life, and life is supposed to be fun. But and when I realized that, and when I really embraced, okay, some days I'm going to be fine, I'm going to be able to walk, I'm going to be able to do, and some days for me to live and get the most out of this day, I need to accept my chair and allow my chair to support me.
Yeah.
And when I did that, that was really the start of my life. And then obviously I went on to have not just one child that I was told I would never have, but now number 4 is cooking as we speak. So the Wheelie Mama is really the culmination of when I embraced my body and accepted my body and respected it, my life really began, and it now sees me as a mum, so that's where it comes from.
I love that. It's absolutely perfect. You said so many great things inside of that, and I'd love to go back to the acceptance, the acceptance and giving up the fight. And a lot of times I have noticed, and you've explained it beautifully, because what you said was, you were trying to fight it for
Mhm,
such a long time, trying
mhm,
to push against it or rail against it. And then when you, because it takes courage. It really takes courage to say, okay, I'm going to embrace and accept exactly where I'm at and exactly where I'm not where I'd like to be, not
mhm,
where I think I should be, not because, oh, it's not fair. It's like, no, I'm going to embrace that right now. And what I hear is that your central nervous system then actually had a chance to start becoming at ease.
100%.
That's when your body starts to heal. We see it,
Yeah,
yeah, and you've seen it in
yeah,
yourself, and then also in
mhm,
MS to success as well. But you did that by yourself, Sarah. That is mighty, and at such a young age as well, with everybody telling you not possible.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
like, how has your relationship then with your body changed? Like, what age was that around, and how then has that made a difference for you?
I was probably getting into my late 20s, like it's still a relatively recent thing, to the point where I still have to remind myself sometimes, and I find myself, particularly in the last month of pregnancy, getting very frustrated with my body and getting very kind of, struggling I'm not angry with my body, but like just frustrated, yeah, I guess is the word. And then I have to remind myself, hold on a second. Look what your body has blessed you with. Look, even though, and I mean, you've said it to me on a weekly basis, like, how are you still going? Like, because I get annoyed when I maybe don't get to the end of the list, or whenever I get frustrated when you're like, whoa, hold on. Let's just remember what's going on there, and just, let's celebrate what we are doing rather than what's not happening here. So I do have to remind myself quite frequently. But yeah, I mean, it was late 20s into my 30s, and actually my husband has been a huge advocate and a huge teacher, because he is very quietly defiant, I would say. He is very, very shy, very, very quiet, reserved, but he does not care what anyone thinks of him. Like, he really doesn't, and he really just does his own thing, and genuinely, I don't know how he does it, but he's like immune to public opinion. He just does not care, and he has really taught me to advocate for myself, to do my own thing, to cut out the noise of what other people might think or say, because at the end of the day, what anybody else's opinion is not my business. My business is to do my thing and be okay with myself, and he has really taught me that, so that's been huge over the last kind of 12, 13 years that we've been together.
What a wise, wise man.
He is.
The
He
two of
is.
you are a serious power couple. And when I was in your house those years ago, I think it was at one of those events, or maybe it just came up
Yeah.
anyway. I can't remember exactly when it was. You might have a better memory than I do. But I remember watching the two of you. And it was like, and I remember saying to you at the time, it was like watching this dance of both of you, because you're in your chair,
Mhm,
he's moving
mhm,
around, having the kids looked after, whatever food,
mhm.
whatever else it might be, and you're doing you're having the kids looked after then
Yeah,
in a different way as well.
yeah,
But it was like watching this dance without even the two of you communicating.
yeah.
You already were taking care of each other's needs.
Uh-huh.
It was
Yeah,
so beautiful and very moving to watch. And I mean that in the
mm,
most non condescending
yeah,
way.
yeah,
But it was like looking at this seamless, thing happening and just everything working beautifully,
yeah.
probably better than most able people in a relationship. It was this
Uh-huh.
respect and understanding that it was loudly beautiful.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. We do have a very choreographed relationship, and we both know each other's strengths and weaknesses very well, and they complement each other very nicely and stuff. And we do, but with that, because we do have kind of a lot of almost telepathic communication, we do have to make a conscious effort to actually sit down and converse sometimes, because we can sometimes assume that, everything's okay, or we know what the other one's thinking. So we really, and especially over COVID and stuff, we really had to get really conscious with our communication and making that time for each other, because it is busy with 3 tiny humans and another one coming.
And
So we
almost a
yeah, we
boy.
really do have to, but we we've got each other's backs, and
Yeah.
it's nice.
And it's
I'm very
beautiful. It's
blessed.
beautiful, beautiful to see. Um, do you mind if we go back a little bit to or like around the disability? And you mentioned it
Mhm.
earlier on. So a lot of people assume disability means limitation. And of course there are. There are some limitations that are there. Let's
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
honest about that because what I don't want to do is glide over and have that
Yeah.
kind of toxic positivity of, oh my God, it's
Mm.
great. Like let's be really real about it. But what do you wish that more people understood about using a wheelchair and living with an illness?
I just For me, it's not so much about, like, a lot of wheelchair users would say, "Oh, society isn't built for wheelchairs," and, there's a lot of and that is true to a certain extent, but I think the biggest barrier for wheelchair users is their own interpretation of what the chair means, and they automatically sitting in the chair makes them feel less than or like some sort of a sellout or, and that is so not true. All what if I could give one thing or ask listeners or anyone to take away one thing, I would say see the chair as a tool to help you be the best version of yourself. Because when you're trying to do a million and one things and fight against your body to physically be in a room or physically go somewhere, you're automatically draining your battery and
Mm,
stopping yourself from being the fullest, best version of yourself. So
yeah,
give yourself a break, accept the tool, be gracious and say, yes, I accept this as a tool for me to be my best self. And this will save my energy and allow me to use that in a much more beautiful way than just surviving.
I love that. I love that. One of the things, and you'll know this, of course, um, from people that come onto our success audit and action plans, and we, assess their needs and where they're at, and see if we can support them. But one of the things I hear, and you'll hear very often, is when people then start maybe having and it's before they work with us because of course it all improves when they get to us but if energy is lacking or if there's mobility issues, what we have found a lot before clients work with us is that they start saying no to things. They start
Yes.
kind of making their social lives or their circles a little
Mhm.
bit smaller because they have this worry or this fear of,
Mhm.
I don't want to slow people down. Like, tell me, have you ever had, or have you had a time where you felt like you've had to prove yourself and be like, no, I'm not saying no to this anymore? Or did you find that maybe happening with yourself and, or what did you do?
Not so much in the past. I'll be honest and say in pregnancy, I've cut my calendar way down purely because growing a human takes a lot of energy
Hmm.
and I just don't have a lot to spare right now. But not I've always been determined to have the experiences in life that I want to have. So I've never really said no to things or like melted into the background or stayed in the sidelines ever because I'm too experience hungry. I just want to have all the things, but and especially since becoming a parent, I refuse to allow my disability in any way, shape, or form to limit my kids' life or stop them from having an experience. So all it takes for me is a bit extra planning and a little bit of extra, maybe do a recce before we go somewhere or make a few phone calls or something like that. But what I find is because I'm quite confident and articulate in what it is I need, when I come with that to people, there's always a solution. Like an example that I can think of is we recently did with a group of friends, we did a tour of Enniskillen, our local town, all the food places. There was like it's called Taste of Enniskillen. And the person who organized the tour was like, "Oh, I don't know if it'll be accessible for you or whatever." And then I didn't want to put it on her to figure it all out. So I was like, "Look, it's okay." And I rang the tour manager and I said, "Look, I'm in a chair. Is it accessible? What's the story?" And he asked me what the situation was. And what he did then the day before, he physically went round all the places and he adjusted the tour to suit.
Right.
And I brought my manual chair and he actually pushed me, bless him, round the whole thing. But if I hadn't have had the courage, and again, knowing that I deserve to join in and I deserve to have a nice day, I could have easily just sat on my dog, it's too much hassle, or don't want to be a pain. But you're not being a pain, you're advocating for yourself. And actually, by doing that, you're also educating other people because he then can know if somebody else comes along with similar needs. Okay, I need to make some adjustments here, and then it's making it more accessible for everyone. So you're
I
not
know.
being a pain, you're actually being an advocate. And it's, yeah, when you can change that, flip that script, everything changes as well.
There's specific people that I'm already thinking, "Oh my god, I can't wait to send this episode to," because it's gonna give that freedom and that choice, and that's one of the things I hear very often, "Oh, no, I don't want to because I don't want people looking at me, or I don't want people to or be coming over and asking me, I don't want the help," and it's like, actually, well, maybe if you accept it, or maybe, like you say,
Mhm.
flipping that script and actually acknowledging that you have the right to enjoy things as much as everyone else. Sarah, that is so powerful what you just said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very cool. Um, I'd love to come back to your book that you wrote,
Mhm.
your children's book. What inspires that story, and what is the core message you hope kids and their grown-ups take away? This episode of Talk Healing to Me is sponsored by Clean Boss, created by Joy Mangano, the legendary inventor behind the Miracle Mop and a pioneer in clean innovation. Clean Boss is a botanical disinfectant that kills 99.9% of viruses, germs, and bacteria. It's safe for food surfaces, soft surfaces, and baby high chairs with no toxic ingredients and no rinse required. It's also a degreaser, odor eliminator, and all-purpose cleaner that works as hard as the chemical heavy stuff without the health risks. Check it out at getcleanboss.com/Karen for a clean, better, and living safer life.
Yeah. So the book was a real labor of love because first of all, when we decided that we wanted to have a family and we didn't know if it was possible or not, and then sadly we lost the baby at the start, and then when we needed Dexter, my oldest son, was going to be make it into the world, then I suddenly started to panic and I was like, oh, I need to be able to explain to him in a way that is empowering and but also light and age appropriate what it means to have a mum in a wheelchair. And I started looking for a book that would explain it, and I couldn't find one that was portraying the message that I wanted to impart to him. And everything was really kind of sterile and downbeat, and that's just not me. So I was like, okay, this is the universe again giving me a nudge that doesn't exist, we create. So I started to, and I literally wrote the book in an evening, and it was pretty much the motivation behind it was basically a letter to my son saying this is what it means and this is what, and then it evolved from there. And I found a great illustrator and stuff, and it just really brought the whole book to life, and he's in there. It took a while longer, obviously, to do the illustrations and everything. So my baby daughter is in there. She's now almost 7, so she's in there too. And the book is called My Mum is a Superhero, and the whole message of it is, so it's narrated by Dexter, my son, and he's basically saying people think that my mum is like to be pitied, or I should be sad, but what people don't know is my mum has superpowers that people can't see. And one of the main superpowers is we can do everything that your family can do. We just do it a little bit differently. And that's basically the crux of the whole story. Like we go to the supermarket, we go for picnics, we go to the playground, all the normal things, and it just looks a wee bit different.
Wow. Sarah is, and it's gorgeous. And I bought a few copies, and I've bought a few copies for the people as well. It's a glorious, glorious book. And actually, it needs to be in every school and every library around the
Mhm.
world, because I think we forget it. It's teaching people about that a lot of other books do, but this is really empowering the voice of and giving words to a child that
Yeah.
has. So it's a whole other ball game. It's really bringing in the mental and emotional side of things and the confidence.
I think what was beautiful for me was some friends bought them for their children, and like they're no disability whatsoever in the family or anything like that. But what they said was gorgeous was it opened up the conversation around disability, and it really had, and they were able to have some amazing conversations off the back of reading the book. And what I noticed with my own kids then when they went to like preschool and stuff, they were the ones that were staying back to help the kid who'd lost their glasses, or, there was a wee boy who was using like a rollator, and they were my son was moving things out of his way so he could have a clear path in his rollator, and I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted to teach in action, because they don't see them kids as being any different, or anything strange or unusual. It's just like we need to make a few adjustments here to allow them to have the best experience they can at school. And I was like, that just proves it shows that the ethos of our family is alive and well, in the
Uh,
outside world.
yeah,
So,
and you'll
yeah.
never know the impact that you've made either, they're the stories that
No.
you know of, but,
Yeah,
really,
that's
really
true.
well done on writing that. You've also, to add to the accolades, you have got an MBE, Sarah Griffiths. What was that like?
A good question. And to this day, I still don't fully understand it because
No, hang on. Do not diminish yourself saying that. And let me rephrase the question so you don't take it up the wrong way. Because don't
ah,
diminish yourself. Oh my God, it's incredible. What was it like receiving the MBE? Because it is a
well,
phenomenal accolade.
it was really bizarre because I just had my son who's 4 now, and I was literally scrolling through my emails doing one of the night feeds, and this email was there, and it said Sarah Griffiths MBE, and I was like, "That's unusual spam." Like, and I literally thought it was spam. I clicked on it, and I was reading it, and I says to Danny, I said, "Oh, look, this scammer wants me to believe that I'm gonna get an MBE." So he said, "Let me see." So I passed him the phone, and he's like some kind of weird detective. He can do like I don't know how he does it, but within seconds he can figure out whether something's legitimate or not. And he's like, "That is a genuine email address, and it's a proper thing." And then there was documents that you had to like fill out and sign if you wanted to accept it. And I was like, what even is this? What? And Danny was like, "Just fill it out, just fill it." And he was more excited than I was, so I kind of got caught up in his excitement and filled them out almost for him, because he was buzzing. He's like, "This is incredible." So I filled them out, and then it was like, "Don't tell anybody until after the 31st of December and stuff like this." So I filled everything out, sent it off, and then I couldn't talk about it, and then I suddenly panicked and was like, "What if it is a scam and I've just given all my personal details away? Like everything, they've got my signature, they've got everything." And I was literally panicking until the 31st of December. And then when the list was published, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is legit, like it's real." And then we got to go up to Hillsborough Castle. We didn't get to go over to um the palace or anything because of lockdown and things. But we got to go to Hillsborough Castle in Northern Ireland and received it then. And it was a lovely day, but the imposter syndrome was real. Like it really was. It was,
And
and
clearly
I mean,
still very alive, hearing you say what you
yeah,
said when I
yeah,
asked the question first.
yeah. It's just because it's one of those things that like people on TV get, not like not normal people like me. And literally, but I will say, and this is something that I've really become okay with, and something that I speak about quite frequently. All I was doing and all the things that I've been recognized for, because when I went to receive my medal and everything, one of the people who came up to me on the day, I said, like, "I really feel like a fish out of water. I don't know why I'm here. This is so bizarre." And he said, "Hold on." He said, "I'm on the board of the panel who decide, and yours is one of the strongest nominations that we've seen in like a couple of decades." And I'm like, but that blew my mind even more. And you're not allowed to see anything or know who nominated you or what was said or anything. So, and he said, "But just take it from me." He says, "It was such a strong nomination and you're more than deserving." So I was like, okay. And then the way that I reconciled that in my head was, all I've been doing here is making the best life for me and my kids and doing my own thing. And that's proof that that is enough. So if I wanted to, again, for someone to take away anything, it's like forging the best path and being the best version of yourself is more than enough. And like you said, you don't know what impact that's having on somebody else. And you don't need to know actually as well. So if we only all ever focused on being the best version of ourselves and having the best life we possibly can. That in itself is enough, and in my case, got me an MBA, which is crazy, but I'll take it, like,
There's the mic drop moment. I
yeah,
love it. Live your
yeah,
best life, do your thing, and let it unfold. Sarah, and it really rings true back to the introduction. You're the most gracious human being I've ever met.
oh,
Um,
thank you.
you're now working at MS to Success as our
Mhm.
executive assistant.
Yeah,
Sarah, I feel very privileged to have you
oh,
working here. How is, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. And you can tell the good, the bad, and the ugly, by the way. But how has your experience been? You're now working in a healing program,
mm,
which is new. What is that like for you? And seeing other people come in that maybe don't have the confidence that you have or haven't had yet. When they're in
yeah.
their first few days. What's that like for you?
Mm. It's been a whirlwind. It's been an absolute whirlwind because it wasn't like none of this was, including having baby number four, was on my bingo card for this year. So it's been an absolute whirlwind. But I just love going to bed every night and getting up in the morning and knowing that I come and make a difference because I've been in corporate life for so long and that wasn't a vibe in corporate at all. But knowing that I can make a difference again just by being me and just by having a heart and caring about people is incredible. And yeah, it has, and I suppose being quite intuitive as well is hard sometimes, but also beautiful because you can feel people's pain, you can feel their doubt, you can feel their fear, but I also know they're in the best place to be supported and held and to grow into the best versions of themselves. And then, I mean, I keep messaging you and I'm doing like editing replays and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this person made me cry because they've had such a breakthrough this week or what. And it's lovely seeing the growth and just being a tiny part of their journey is just gorgeous, and I love it.
I
And I can't
know.
wait to see
I
what's to
know.
come next.
I love when you messaged me about Zoe, I think this week, being like, "Oh my
Mm,
god," and Jackie, like, just phenomenal. And it is, it's
mm,
so beautiful to see their growth
mm.
every week and be cheering them on. What maybe one thing that surprised you about behind the scenes and working in a health or a healing company?
The sheer amount of work that goes into it all and the amount of moving parts. Like, people just probably see your Instagram and see and just think you just, like, glide in and glide out and just do, these inspirational things and just, drift off again, but there's so much work, we're all so emotionally and mentally invested in everybody's journeys, and, like, it's not just what I love about it, it's not just clever marketing copy, or it's not just, it we all care so much, and how quickly I became emotionally invested as well really got me because yeah, like I feel like I know some of the clients personally and I've only ever emailed them. So it's yeah, it's how quickly you can become invested in cheering someone else on really, really got me. But I love it. I love it.
I love it. I love it. So for anybody that's been listening, particularly to the solo episodes as well, Sarah is the one who was gathering all of the client wins from our movement calls, from our Friday wind up, from our private community group, and is gathering all of those wins and then shares them on with me. So she is the joy giver and bringer to all of these and gets to celebrate all of our clients as well. It's beautiful to see. You mentioned, and we're so lucky to have you, by the way, Sarah. Like, and it was a surprise for both of us, as we know, because your work
Thank
life changed.
you.
It was like, "Come and work
Thank
here." I was so happy when
you.
you said
Yeah.
yes, and we're very, very lucky to have you
Well, I feel
here
very
and
privileged to be part of it as well. So it's
steering the ship,
mutual.
literally. Thank you. Um, you are pregnant with your fourth child.
Yes.
Congratulations! What
Yes.
what makes this pregnancy different to your earlier ones?
Oh my goodness, so much. One was it was a complete surprise, complete surprise. I genuinely thought that I was coming towards menopause. That's what, and it was Danny that spotted the signs before I did that I was pregnant. So that was a big shocker. Um, I've been seems to be when I'm pregnant with boys that I get quite sick, like quite a lot of pregnancy sickness and stuff. When I was pregnant before, I was able to lie down and rest and things. But when you got three other people relying on you, that's not so much of an option anymore. But also I feel very blessed that I can continue to work and make a difference in the world from the comfort of my own home, which takes a massive strain off. And again, I'm so grateful for my chair because it takes a lot of the strain. Um, and actually this time as well, and you're going to probably think this, it does not feel right, but it actually is. I'm acknowledging that I don't have as much energy as I did for my first pregnancy 10 years ago, and actually being okay with saying, not today. I can't, today is not the day, and that I am not the one. If you want that done, go ask someone else, or, and actually accepting help. I've had to accept help. And with on that, the help that I find that I need is more mental help, as in like decision making and executive function. Like, and I'll say to my husband, like, I just can't, I don't have the brain space for that today. Can I outsource that to you and like make a decision or organize something or do? And he is so okay with that. Like he's such an organizer and a project manager. He's totally okay. But instead of me trying to do everything and then get upset with myself and then upset with him because he's not reading my mind and doing it, I'm going, I need help. Are you okay to support me in this? And he's like, yeah. And it just takes the mental load off and allows me then to focus on the things that I need to focus on, be that work, be that my self care, whatever it is. But being okay with that and just being able to clearly communicate what it is I need in any given moment is very different this time because it's had to be.
I
Whereas
love it.
before I was like, you know, I'll just do everything and try to be superwoman, and nobody is superwoman. And then when you're reminded that there's a 5% chance of having a pregnancy over the age of 40, and I'm sat here at 42, like, but I gotta be okay with not doing everything because this is already incredible. So
Yeah. That's powerful to hear that. Like the saying
yeah,
no
yeah,
is one of the best self-care tools.
100%.
No.
Yeah,
No, I can't, or I don't want to,
yeah,
or I'm choosing not to. It is so
mhm,
powerful to say that.
mhm,
Brilliant. Good on you for
yeah,
recognizing that. You mentioned actually as you were talking about that, that it's, really grateful for the chair and that taking the strain. As you know, like some of our clients are when they come to us, they want to work on getting out of the chair. And then others are living vibrant lives in the chair. What would
mhm,
your message be to both? Because you've got people on both sides. And as we're just about to open up our seated program as well, and there will be two different sides. People that like, "Oh, I want to
yeah.
get out," and then other people like, "No, I want to." What would be your message to both sides?
Yeah, I mean, both are completely valid. So what's right for me and what's my best version of me will not be everyone. So I'm not sitting here saying, if you're in a chair, you must be in a chair, and that's it. It's all or nothing. It's not that at all. It's whatever fits and whatever feels good to you is completely valid. And that's one of the things I love about the program is it's not a one size fits all. It's bespoke, and your goals become our goals. And it's like, yeah, I just love that. But yeah, like I say, both are valid. And when you asked me the other day about, what does success look like as a winter user, for me, it's choice. So I'm completely okay with the days when I need to be in my chair more. But likewise, I love to have the choice that if I want to go for dinner with my husband and I want to link his arm and use my stick, and walk, that I have that option. And for me, the key to that is keeping my body moving and respecting my body and loving my body with nourishing food, movement, and just respect and love, self care. And when I do that, I find my body gives me that choice and that flexibility. And that is what success is for me. It's not the chair or the walking, it's the choice.
Oh, that's beautiful, Sarah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Um, I'm going to ask you one final question before we go into our quick fire round, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a bit of a fluffy question, but I think it's an important one. And you've touched on it a little bit already. What does healing mean to you?
Healing for me is acceptance and removing any barriers, be they mental, physical, or emotional, that are stopping you from living the life that you deserve to live.
Beautiful.
It's not about having like a flawless body or looking like someone else. It's about whatever barriers are in your way or you feel are in your way to the life you want, removing those.
Sarah for president. Thanks, Sarah. That's such a beautiful answer. And you can tell it's a lived experience answer. It's not a, oh, this is what healing is. You've embodied and embraced and are
Mm,
living that each and every day, which is so, so beautiful. God, we're lucky to have you as a friend, but also now as an employee as well. Thank you.
yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, it's time for the Talk Healing to Me quick fire round. So, short answers, whatever pops into your mind first. We've got
Okay.
10 of them. First one is, if you followed your childhood dream, what would you be doing now?
Oh, my childhood dream was to be a dancer. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can imagine that conversation with my poor granny when she'd sit me down and say that just buying an Irish dancing dress wasn't going to make me an Irish dancer. And she had to kind of say that might be slightly out of your reach, but yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Just be okay with where you're at and it's going to be more than okay. And the only person stopping you from having an incredible life is yourself. Get out of your own way and just accept where you're at day by day, and you'll get there faster than you know.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Who inspires you the most?
Ah, well, I really want to say you, but I know you're not going to be okay with that.
Stop
No,
it.
no, no. Honestly, I do because you, with gratitude, changed my life. And you, then when I met you, it was like you again. You're the embodiment of what gratitude can do for someone, and just acceptance and like everything that you've said about me. I feel like you're a mirror of that. So just and seeing on the days when it feels frustrating or it feels too much or I feel like a fraud, like I'm lying to myself and other people, you're that embodiment, that reminder of no, it's okay. And our humanity is what makes us superheroes. And you really remind me of that. So yeah, you,
I'm trying to take my own advice here and not
yeah,
say hell no. So I'm just going to say thank you. But what I
yeah.
will ask is you're going to have to give me somebody else though as well because
Mm.
it's because as an employee and then as a guest on the podcast I'm like no, she's going to feel that she's to say that. So thank
No,
you
not
and I
at
really
all.
appreciate
Not at
those
all.
words. But think about it outside of anything else. Who who inspires you the
Who
most?
else inspires me? Um, Okay, so another person who really inspires me is Susie Ma, the CEO and founder of Tropic, because she started from nothing, like literally nothing, and she was fearless in her pursuit of not just incredible things for herself, but enough resources to make the world a better place. And she has done that single-handedly, and she's still only like she's just over 40, just over 30.
Wow.
And she really inspires me so much, and it's anyone who doesn't accept the limitations of their birth and goes on to do what it is they want to do for themselves and for others inspires me, whether they've got a platform or not.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Beautiful, Bill. Beautiful. Big up to Tropic Skincare. Um, was there a particularly dark day that turned into a positive, and what was the lesson?
Well, yeah, I mean, the day that I spoke about when I was lying in bed going, this, like, there's gotta be something else, like, I can't go on like this, like, every breath just felt like too much. And then when Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay popped up on my screen, like that was what changed the course of the rest of my life, and it was my darkest day. So yeah, and I think that's what I learned in that moment was it doesn't matter how dark or hopeless something feels. If you're breathing, there's a reason. So just actually ask the universe to show you. And that's something that I do every day. I say, universe, show me. And I have like a little mantra that I say every single morning, universe, show me the person, place, or circumstance that will bring me closer to who and where I need to be today. And that just like, I mean, that brought you back into my life after a little while, and and it served me so well. So we don't always have to know the answers. We have to be willing to hear the answers when they come to us, and that's what I learned in that dark day.
Beautiful, Sarah. Beautiful. What a perfect answer. What does your ideal day consist of?
Oh my goodness. A lion, which feels like can't remember the last time that I got to have a decent lion. With my kids, 100%. Like they are just my world. They really are, and they're incredible little people. Like they're genuinely lovely to spend time with. I know some kids are annoying, but mine are genuinely incredible little humans. And um, good food. Some time out in sunshine, and just yeah, just making memories out of the mundanest of things. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just with the people that I love, good food, nice weather, and I'm happy.
Beautiful. Sounds like a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Roast dinner rules. So, if you were eating a roast dinner and you had, say, roasties and some kind of protein like a meat and some veg, whatever else you might have, gravy and things like that, do you eat your favorite bit first, your favorite bit last, or a little bit of everything together?
Oh, that's a good question. I I tend to like to savor things, so I think I would maybe start off with a little bit of everything just to like a taste test, and then I save the best bit to last because I like to savor the moment.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're continuing on at the dinner. We've four more left. You've got three dinner guests, past or with us. Who would they be?
Oh, fill in it for sure, definitely. Freddie Mercury and a little bit controversial, but Lance Armstrong.
Okay. Very cool.
Mm,
Very
yeah.
cool. I didn't expect that one. I did not expect that one. Okay, very
Yeah.
cool. Favorite song of all time?
Of all time, oh my gosh. Well, everything by Thin Lizzy, absolutely everything. But I think my favorite of all time is Journey, Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, I love it.
I'm
It's
an
like your
80s
theme
cheese
song.
ball. Yeah, I'm like an 80s cheese ball.
I love it. I know you can't beat 80s though.
Yeah.
I mean 90s is a close second, but everything
Yes,
else, yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. The
Yeah.
book that you love to gift the most. If you don't say your
Um,
own one.
actually, no, it's actually not. I love The Shack. Um, I don't know if you know that one, The Shack I love. And I also love The Game of Life and How to Play It.
Oh, it's
I
beautiful.
really love that
Florence
one.
Coville Shin.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Those would be two of
beautiful.
my absolute favorites.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful book. And then last question, how do you switch off?
How do I switch off? So I enjoy it's become a bit of a ritual in our house in the evenings now. Since lockdown actually. We'll turn off the TV when the kids are in bed, turn off the TV for about half an hour to an hour before we go to bed. And we make a cup of tea, and we're quite ritualistic about making a cup of tea. Make a cup of tea and just sit down and talk to each other, like face to face. How was your day? Is there anything I need to know about? Like, and we actually a similar format to what we do with the kids. When they come home from school, we say to them what was the best thing that happened today and what was the worst thing that happened. Because if you say that you have a good day, you just get a yes, and that's the end of it. So I kind of do the same with Danny, and I'll say like, "What was your highlight of today? And what would you like to do better tomorrow, or what would you like to," and we just have that kind of debrief almost. And that's then we can go and it's nearly like a brain dump because it's hard for me, my brain to switch off. So by doing that kind of debrief, it's easier then for me to switch off and actually sleep when I get into bed. So yeah, like, and then the other way that I like to unwind is quite controversial. I play Candy Crush on my
Oh,
phone.
I did not know
Mm.
that.
Yeah, I'm of Candy Crushes, and so and I often say to Danny, like, he'll say, "Oh, you're sitting playing Candy Crush?" Yes, I'm playing Candy Crush, but I'm also coordinating all of next week in my head. So it looks like I'm doing nothing, but I'm actually doing everything.
You're decompressing with
Yeah,
Candy Crush. I love it. What
yeah.
level are you on? It's levels, isn't it?
Oh gosh, like I think I'm like maybe 5,000 or something like that. I've been playing it. I think I started playing it when I was pregnant with Dexter. So that's like 9 years ago. I've
Oh
been
my
playing
God, Sarah,
it.
that is
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah. I know. Imagine if I put that much effort into my business, where would we be right now?
I love it. Oh my God,
But yeah.
very cool. What a great answer.
Mm.
What a great answer. Well, Sarah, thank you so much, like, for your heart, for your wisdom, for your humor, and your ability to remind us all that healing doesn't look the same for everyone. And that is the beauty of it. So if you're listening right now and you're dealing with MS or just feel like you're piecing together your health one Google search at a time, don't do it alone. Visit mstosuccess.com and explore your personalized health blueprint and find the support you actually deserve. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that healing comes in all speeds, shapes, stories, and sizes. And please, please, please go and leave us a review. Aoife, our amazing podcast producer, keeps asking me to say that, and I keep forgetting. So like, subscribe, share, leave us a review. We'd love to hear back from you. One of the other things we're going to do is, if you send us in a question to podcast@talkhealingtome.com, I am going to give away 5 copies of Sarah's book, My Mom is a Superhero. So send us in your question and we're going to pick 5 of the best questions and send you out a book. Thank you for listening. Sarah, again, thank you so much. And I'll see you in the office later on. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Cardinal. Bye.
Bye. Thank you to our sponsors of this episode. You can visit getcleanboss.com/Karen. And also a thank you to our video and podcast producer and editor, Aoife McNamara at Imagine Media. Thank you.